2 weeks ago, we began Sefer Shmos, and everyone knows that Sefer Shmos deals with the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim. So it's an interesting point from the Shalach HaKadosh. It's somewhat Kabbalistic that because we read these Sedras that deal with the story of the Shibud and then going free, in Parshas Bo this week, and B'Shalach, and Kabbalas HaTorah, so that really means that the energies that existed at the time of Yetzias Mitzrayim reappear when we read these Sedras. Now, in Nisan, when we actually experience Pesach, so everyone seems to accept that it's not just an anniversary, but those energies, again, are realized because it's etched in time. It's the month of Nisan when they actually left. The Shalah is saying that by mere reading the Parshios publicly, that brings out the same type of potential. So with that in mind, let's talk about Chayev Adam Liros Es Atzmo Kiluhu Yasam Mitzrayim. Usually we talk about it on Pesach, but in deference to the Shalah's idea, we can mention it again now. Person is obligated in every generation to see oneself as if he or she left Egypt. And the commentaries, the Rambam, the Rishonim, everyone tries to understand what is really being asked of us because we weren't there physically. We were not part of the bricks and mortar, the hard work and the infanticide, losing children, Rahman al-Atzlan. We can relate to the tsaros as much as our minds allow us, and we can imagine the miracles, but we weren't there. So one pshat that I like to quote, usually Pesach time, Pesach is coming early now with this video, but it's from Rav Simcha Zisel Breida, the Chevron Rosh Yeshiva. And he says as follows: we have to concede we weren't there, but we still are included because it's part of the great destiny of Klal Yisrael. In other words, when the generation left Egypt, it wasn't just about them. They left, they received the Torah after realizing and experiencing all of the miracles, and it was for the next generation and the generation after them. So in other words, every generation a person has to ask oneself, what role do I play? Just as every Jew who left Egypt physically understood that they played a role, they were the foundation, the beginning of Klal Yisrael, thousands of years later, I have to ask myself, what role do I play in Klal Yisrael? They had a mission, I also have a mission. And my children, God willing, they carry on the mission. And the grandchildren, that's the Chol Dor Vador. Every generation serves its purpose in the destiny of Klal Yisrael. So therefore, I have to ask myself, what am I contributing? What am I a part of? I'm not just here because I'm relying on what came before me. I'm resting on the laurels of the earlier generation, the Dor, the generation that left Egypt. No, I also play a crucial role, and therefore it becomes an existential question. What am I doing? What am I contributing? And especially as we've been pointing out during a time of crisis for Klal Yisrael, how am I upping my game? How am I now making a difference? Am I going to Eretz Yisrael? So many of our members, it's a beautiful thing to see, have gone to Eretz Yisrael to participate, to volunteer on the farms, to pick fruit, to make sandwiches, to make a barbecue for the soldiers, to give chizuk, encouragement to them. Even if I'm not making it to Eretz Yisrael, my tzedakah and of course my tehillim and my awareness and my concern, that's part of why Hashem placed me in this moment as part of the great tapestry of Klal Yisrael. I have to see myself as if I left Egypt, not that I physically was there, but they left Egypt for my existence today. And what am I doing for now and for the next generation? So it's a weighty, it's a difficult concept because it puts a lot of pressure on us that I'm not just to be taken for granted, and it's a responsibility, but we have to ask ourselves the question. Always we have to ask, Machovasi, what's my purpose in this world? But especially, I guess, when we read these Parshas based on the Shalah, and it's amplified because it's a time of crisis. And Klal Yisrael, Baruch Hashem, I think, as much as I can say, Lefi Aniyas Daiti, our community, we see it all around the world, that we are trying our best to participate, to contribute. And just as that generation was able to experience the full complement of redemption, we should also, God willing, as we read these Parshas and through our efforts, be able to see the Gula Shlema B'mehera V'yameinu. Wish everybody well. We're going up on the winter break. Everyone, if you're traveling, you should travel safely, have a nice rest, and we should hear Besaros Tovos, good tidings, very soon. Have a good Shabbos.